Hello, welcome to White Davy Gardening and Worm Farm. If you like my channel, please press the subscribe button. So today I am going to be showing you how to make a simple worm bin. But in addition to showing you how to make a simple worm bin, I'm going to be complicating my bin a little bit because I am anti fruit flies in my bin. So I take it a bit further, but I'm going to show you how you can make a worm bin simply and how you can prevent fruit flies and other small pests from getting in. So first you're going to need a container that you're going to use for your worm bin. You may or may not choose to use a container with a cover. And then if you are going to be using this method of making a worm bin, then you're going to need a catchment tray, which could be another one of these containers, or it could be something smaller that the bottom of this can fit into, because that is going to catch whatever leachate or moisture drains off from the content of the worm bin. So I've already started because I didn't want to take up a lot of your time, so I started putting holes around there. I make sure that my drill bit is not bigger than 1/4 inch, and the reason I use 1/4 inch bit is because mice and other rodents can get into your worm bin if the holes are anything bigger than 1/4 inch, unless you're using a mesh that the rodents will not be able to bite through. But other than that, it needs to be 1/4 inch or smaller. I like it when my bin look neat, and so I try to keep my holes equal distance apart and equal distance, so in a straight line and equal distance apart. They don't have to be exact, but pretty close. And then another thing to consider, I'm going to be putting mesh over all these holes. As I told you, I like to keep my bin free of fruit flies, so I'm going to be putting mesh on that. So I have to keep that into consideration with regards to where from top to bottom I put the holes, because I have to have space where the mesh can be glued on. So that takes care of the holes. Now when you drill, you may end up with little burr from the plastic that's on the material, so you want to take off those burr. Make sure it's nice and smooth. Okay, so now we have the holes, all the holes that's going to be going in the upper portion. And I want this bin to allow drainage, so I'm going to be putting holes in the bottom. The way I care for my worm bin, I don't have a lot of drainage. In fact, most of my worm bins do not have holes in them. So 6 holes, that's all I'm putting in there. Now the holes that you have in the bottom, As long as the bottom of the container is secure enough where rodents cannot get in, then you can make the holes, the drain holes, larger than a 1/4 inch if you so desire. So just like that, this portion of the bin is finished if you're making just a simple worm bin. You also have to consider more breathing space, because when the time is hot, sometimes you will find that if you have it covered, the bin is sweating, and so what a lot of people will do is to remove the cover. Sometimes it is the case where you don't necessarily want to remove the cover, because then depending on where you have your worm bin, the worms might be exposed to a lot of light. So what I do is create holes in the cover. That way I can have a decent airflow without me having to remove the cover. Of course, there are occasions when it is super hot and you may still have to remove the cover. Nice and neat. A utility knife works very well in taking off the burr. The drill bit that I'm using in here is brand new, so the burr on this bin tends to come off quite easily. Okay, and just like that you have a simple worm bin. However, I did say that I'm going to be complicating my bin. It's not really anything complicated, it's just that if you're making a simple worm bin, a little bit more is required. So here I have some mesh that I pre-cut, and if you're going to be using this method, you're either going to need a glue gun or some other means of attaching the mesh. Or you're going to need some other means of attaching the mesh to the bin. So I'll just allow my glue gun to heat up a bit. Now you have to know what type of glue you want to use. There's some glue that when the moisture from the bin evaporates, as it comes in contact with the glue, it may loosen your glue. Some of them will hold for a very long time and then all of a sudden it just releases. And you want to make sure that your holes are properly covered. You don't want to leave any possibility of the fruit flies getting in there. So I'm just going to be doing this one side on the camera. I don't think there's a need for me to be wasting your time showing you every single detail, just as long as you get the idea of what it is that I am doing. So just like that, and I'm going to be doing all the holes except for the one in the bottom. Another alternative to using glue gun, or in conjunction with your glue gun, I've been using this and I find that it works. I don't know how long it will hold for, to be honest, because I only started using this type of glue a few months ago. So far it seemed to be holding okay. So just the Elmer's glue. I don't know over time as moisture reach it if it will release, but for now it's doing well. And I try to make sure that the very end of the mesh has the glue on it. And I try to be liberal with the glue as well, because I don't want to put too little and then find that the material lift up and all those disgusting fruit flies get into the bin. But you have to be careful though when you use this method. As you depress the material into the glue, you'll find that it wants to move around. So you have to make sure that you're holding the material steady so that it will stay in place. It's a bit of an overkill to be putting the glue in the middle, but for some reason it just makes me feel more comfortable that even if the ends decide to lift, less flies are going to be able to get in. Sometimes when you're doing this, especially if you don't have enough glue, you will find, or sometimes maybe the way the fabric was folded or rolled prior to you cutting the piece you want, you may find that it is lifting, as it is the case here. The glue is not very tacky. when you just put it on, but when you depress the material in it, for the most part it will stay. But occasionally you will find little sections that doesn't want to stay, so you wait until the glue gets a bit tacky, and then you just come back and press that part down, and that's it. Just like that, you have a simple worm bin that is pest free. So if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more videos like these, please take a moment to give me a thumbs up. You can leave a comment in the section below. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and turn on your notification for more updates like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah man, time for grow.